Hello and welcome to a bonus episode of Sports and Songs podcast. Andy, how are you doing?
Doing good. How about you?
Good. I'm Dan. This is my co-host Andy. We've got a special episode today. We're bringing on a player from the Waconia Lakers amateur Class C town ball team, Ronnie Olson. How you doing, Ronnie?
I'm doing great. Great to be here. Thank you.
Good. We cover on the show. We cover a lot of the Crow River Valley League. The teams, the games, the schedules, the postseason, the region. One of the reasons, Ronnie, is that we feel this one of the best conferences in the state of Minnesota. You know, there's the North Star League, there's the DRS. There's some powerhouse leagues. Crow River is right up there, and so we always like to cover that because it's some of the best players, some of the best teams, most competition. 4 teams at the end of the season advance onto the state out of this section. We really like following this region, and especially the Waconia Lakers always has done well. So now you're a veteran on the team, Ronnie. I've got you down here as a second baseman, shortstop. Since the youth movement has come on in, you're getting less and less playing time along with the older fellas. But we want to get into a little bit of the roster. What's it like? What's it like on the team? The roster's stacked with about 30 guys, I think. And it's got to get down to 25 for the postseason. You're a mainstay for many years, and I'd like to get your thoughts on some of your experiences with the team this year, and also the new additions that have joined the squad.
Sure. Well, you're exactly right. I am a veteran on the team. I'm not the oldest, I'll say that, but we definitely have a large group of kind of like 35 to 40-year-olds that kind of give us our veteran status, and then we kind of had that group of 23 to 26-year-olds that, you know, they won the state tournament in high school. So we have a nice group there. But now we're getting a lot of those young kids that are signing up with our team that have a lot of talent. And as a veteran, and I can speak for all the veterans, we're really excited to have all of those young kids who seem to be baseball's their thing. Baseball is what they want to do. They're seeing themselves playing college baseball, and we're hoping they can stay on with the Lakers as we move ahead, and as us veterans fall off with our skill, not only our skill level, but with our family and our other priorities that might come up too. So, but yeah, we have a pretty stacked team, and we've added a lot of young talent, which, and they're all coming to games, and we've never had, 22 guys come on a Wednesday night before, and now we're getting that. So it's really exciting to see.
That's fun. So I see on the roster, there's some 17, 18-year-old, 19-year-old players, very young high school players. How common is that to actually make the team on a town ball team this good? Typically, I see it in my experience. Usually, there's that one player that's picked on the varsity team to say, "Okay, come play with us at this level." But not 2 or 3, 4 guys. Is that common, or is it just because of, like you said, the high IQ, the baseball IQ of these guys? It's tremendous. It's fun to watch from a fan perspective. They're young, but they know what they're doing.
Yeah, we've kind of seen, a lot of guys, their parents are very involved with the Waconia baseball organization, and we're finding that those kids, they're hoping their kids want to play on our team, and we want the kids that, are going to be very committed and have a good attitude, and I would say a lot of times we say, you're welcome to come. We have a lot of good players on our team, so we don't know about playing time right away, but, as people fall off, people can come in. So, that's the message that we tell a lot of the young kids, and for them to buy in, it just really helps our team, and kind of what our goal is to hopefully keep winning and get as far as we can in the state tournament.
Well, it makes it fun for guys like you two who have the family. You have this expanded roster. Something comes up, you don't feel bad being home with the kid's birthday party or going for a family event, because there's other guys to play on the team. Because when you only got 30 on the whole team or 25 on the whole team to start with, you want to kind of make every game you can. But when you got more of a selection like this, it takes a lot of pressure off some of you guys to take a day off.
You're 100% right there. It's super nice to not only the feeling of like, oh, I'm going to miss a game, but you don't feel like the talent drops off much or at all. So you're like, I missed a game. Like we still got it. Like I'm going to miss a couple of games this weekend. But we have guys that are flexible in positions they can play, and we know we can have enough guys there, and that's a lot of teams can't really say that about themselves. So having that flexibility, it makes the season a little more fun and makes the summer more enjoyable for Minnesota. But the other thing is we have a lot of guys that once it's August, they keep their calendars clear, and we know that we want to be there, and we got a job to do.
Awesome. Now you were on some of those that the team that went deep into the postseason to the championship. When was it? 10, 12 years ago for the Lakers?
Yep. Back in 2011. Yep.
Back in 2011. So that must have been fun being part of that group when you yourself was a youngster, and now you've got that background as well. I'm sure the young guys even like playing with the talent that's on the team. I could imagine looking up as mentors to the guys on the team, the veterans like yourself.
We like to think so. We like to think that they can watch us, how we present ourselves, but then kind of we can, if we give them tips, they, accept what we have to say. And I think that's what makes our team have pretty good chemistry is everyone kind of listens to everyone, and there's not really many egos out there.
Good stuff. All right, so you added now. So John Bednachek has joined the squad along with Tanner Adam, both with some D1 experience and some. I think Bednachek played the AA Lincoln Salt Dogs, I think, down in Nebraska for a couple of years. Played some D1. Also, a lot of SMSU guys. Really helps bringing those kinds of caliber in. And then I think Tanner Adam just moved to Chaska, and you guys were able to lock him in to play for Waconia. Was he recruited heavily to go to play for the Cubs in Chaska, or how was it that you guys were able to get him on your squad?
So we had kind of had a connection with him. He was up in Moorhead, and I played this last fall, but a few other guys from Waconia played in the over 35 in Florida in the fall, and he was on that team. So we just got to know him, and he moved to Chaska. So it kind of worked that, he was kind of looking for a new team, and we're always looking to add players, and he's one that's very committed, and, baseball is kind of his top priority during the summer instead of vacations and whatnot. So, and obviously he's a really talented player too. So it was great to be able to add him.
That was down at the at Hobbs, the tournament for the World Series? Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's fun to get.
Like the NBA, you guys all get together at these all-star events and network.
Yeah, it is a network. I've gone down there for many years myself in the 45 plus tournament, and it's a wonderful networking ability as well.
Do you play with like Boomer and that squad?
Not that group. I go down with a different group from Minnesota, and then this last year I brought down my own team, and so we're doing that again this year. But a lot of us see each other in the fall league. There's a fall amateur baseball league here in the Twin Cities, and I run the team out of Carver County. The Catfish. We play the Catfish. So we play regular 9-inning games there. It's an 18-plus league in the fall, and we get a bunch of guys that want to get prepped and everything ready before those October games, and it's fun to join in with some of those guys. So Jeremy Salton's on your squad. We know him, and there's some others as well. So it's a fun networking event, but it's fun to come and watch as well the Class C teams where you can see these guys in action like yourself. We've got the Watertown Red Devils, Plato Blue Jays are tough. Young America back. This year, and I wanted to ask your thoughts on that as well, with the team that went up and moved to Class B for a couple of years. Now they're back down. The Region 7C tournament, I can't wait for. I know, Andy, you're excited about that because now we get Norwood in it. West Tonka wasn't in it before, and Mayer, there was excluded issues with those. Now they're back. We're going to see Mayer in the tournament. We're going to see Norwood. We're going to see West Tonka. We're going to see Young America. So all the teams, and I think there's 15 in the conference. 15 teams are going to be in this Region 7C. All Class
16 now.
16 now. 16. So it's 8 and 8 in the North and the South. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking forward to. We kind of felt as fans, you get shortchanged a little bit when some of the teams can't make it or aren't allowed to play. But now it's going to be the full 16 squad. Are you looking forward to that with the competition?
Yeah, we've been talking about it of like it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens. I mean, just to get into the 8-team Region 17 tournament's gonna be tough because there's a lot of teams, that have missed guys, so but have a lot of talent. So once all those talented guys come around for kind of that play-in 3-game series to get into the tournament, I think there's going to be a lot of things that are interesting things that are going to happen. So, hopefully we can get in, and I'm really excited to play at Cologne. That's a fun place to play, and it's going to be pretty intense. And
yes, you're right. Cologne's hosting it this year at Fritz Field. They just finished, their new outfield wall. They're a great place to watch a day game, great place to watch a night game, great field, and they're hosting it there. And here's the standings I've got up here right now. And here I'm showing, we're talking earlier about the north and versus the south. This is last week, so we've got the Waconia at the top, 9-1. Excludes that St. Bonnie lost the other day on Sunday night by 1 run. Sounds like that got to be pretty interesting. And that game with the rain got moved to Mayer High School is where that was played. Were you there for that game?
Yep, we were there. Got down early. We ended up taking the lead in the 9th and then giving up a couple runs in the bottom of the 9th. And so we had our chance, but didn't close it out, unfortunately. But St. Bonnie's, they got some talented kids over there.
Now, Watertown's record hasn't changed since this because of rainouts. Like I said, I think Watertown's got 5 games they got to make up so far. Are they going to make those all 9-inning games? I mean, if they got to do like 3 games in 4 days, will they make some of them 7-inning games, or are they going to make them play all 9 innings?
I'm trying to think back of anything that's happened in the past when there's been a lot of days. I don't recall them trying to shorten any games to 7 innings or not, but, I guess we'll see how the next few weeks go. But, yeah, that could be something they'll have to consider. But, I mean, you could ask, like, is that fair to the other teams that did play? I don't know.
Right, yeah. I mean, and obviously the non-conference games, you won't bother making those up. They'll be the last priority. Conference ones get high priority, obviously.
Oh, yeah, and I'm sure they're not the only ones in that boat. There's got to be quite a few teams.
Yeah, these last couple of weeks with the rainouts, we follow Kip Kovar's page pretty good, and he covers a lot for the Crow River, very, very good. And, these games are all falling, the rain's falling on games that there's heavy game schedules on those particular nights, days, or afternoons, and they're all getting washed out. So there's going to be a whole series of a couple weeks that is going to be heavy makeup games to get these games back in. And I'm sure if there's exhibition games or non-conference, we'll call them non-conference, they might just be scratched because you need to make up all the conference games first. And they're all 9-inning games. It's tough to do that. So yeah, like I said, Andy, do you try to shorten them? I don't know if they've run into that situation before, but look at this. Look at this. The stacked teams here with Waconia, Watertown, St. Bonnie, like you said, a young squad with some new guys, and I have not seen as many flip-flop upsets in the last couple of weeks than I have usually in this conference. You can pretty much kind of eyeball who's going to do well and who's not, but the parity is very interesting with this whole group. You never know who's going to come in and play. You never know who's going to lose. We saw Waconia lose by 10 runs to Watertown, and then Watertown getting dismantled by Young America.
Right.
And then Young America turning around and losing the very next day or a couple days later, I think, themselves. Right. And so one of my questions to you, Ronnie, is this. You've got the first month of the season, it's really your veteran guys playing. You're waiting for the college kids to wrap up. And once they get back in force, you're playing with the full schedule. But with more and more athletes playing in the Northwoods League, American Association, we're missing those guys until the playoffs come around. So they get various exemptions and whatnot to partake in the postseason. Cologne's got a good example with Christian Johnson. He's playing in Sioux Falls again this year. Really good pitcher. So you're going to see their standings win-loss record look kind of deflated, but then you're going to get this powerhouse pitcher come back at the end. So the win-loss records are misleading, and you talk about that regional. To get into the regions, you've got to win that best-of-3 series just to get in, and that's where you see a bunch of upsets some of the times as well. What's your thoughts on that with the different players coming and going? I don't think there's anyone for Waconia everyone's back from college about 3 weeks ago, I'm sure now. But is there anyone else that we're going to be missing here until as a midway? Derek Martin, I had a question on. I guess he's got an injury, but I haven't seen him at shortstop at all this season.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really speak on other teams of what players they may or may not have coming back. But yeah, for Derek, he's moved to Wisconsin, but he plans on coming back and being around during those playoff times. But yeah, he's kind of had an injury to his wrist that he's trying to come back from, and it's been a little more difficult for him to swing a bat, but he's gotten on the mound for us a little bit. But his defense is definitely something that we miss not having out there. I don't think there's a better shortstop in the league than him. So, hopefully he can feel better by the end of the year, and we can use him when we're going to need him. Like when all those talented guys are back, like you were just showing the standings, like it's crazy to think like Mayer, like they got one of the best pitchers in the league, right, and they got one win so far. And I think I might even heard that New Germany was one of the teams that beat them. And talent.
You never know with the parity on any given day, and that's once again why you play the games. So Derek Martin, not at short. I have seen him on the mound a few times, so it explains it that he's got the wrist is non-throwing wrist, right? Was what's injured, so he's able to pitch. Great to have Tanner Adams fill in without really missing a heartbeat. D-Mart's one of the top shortstops in the league, like you said, and now you get to bring in a guy with the former D1 background, 35 years old, but still can play just fine. And you got Bezdicek, some of the younger guys coming in. Owen Omring's taken over in center field for Jack Stoddard. It's fun to watch with the talent that's out there. And then you look at the bench to see the talent on the bench as well. Now, when the playoffs come, the roster goes down to 25 guys, and so that's when Freddie's going to have some tough decisions to make, I'm sure, when playoffs come around. What's your thoughts on having what I would call almost too much talent?
Well, that's something I haven't even really thought of or looked at, but of like how many guys we would have to maybe take off the roster. I mean, some of them might have plans or whatnot, so make that decision a little bit easier. But that's what Freddie stresses about, and so we're gonna let him just stress. And
or some of the older guys might just say no. Some of the older players might say no. It's been a good summer. You guys enjoy.
Yeah.
You got that ailing ankle or knee or something that's tweaking at you. No, let someone else play. That's where the teamwork comes in right there.
Exactly. But we know this is our last chance at sea with all the changes that are coming. So
yeah, speaking of that, okay, the new criteria for the points, everything's changing next year. I mean, look at that standings. I'm not making fun of anyone, but this could be West Tonka's year next year because there's going to be no one else here. It's going to be a changing of the guard for who wins C. Or do they come up with something different, like B2 or C1, a different level?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have the same question, Ronnie, as far as looking forward to 2025. Will there be a bunch of teams moving up to B? Is that number one? Is that correct anyway? And number two is, what will that happen then? Or will there be, what will happen to the Crow River, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, the way that it's set now is that the Crow would basically be kind of split between C and B teams, and then us possibly being an A. And basically, probably the Crow is done, I would guess. But my hope is that they figure out a way to not only separate our league, but separate all the other leagues that have created rivalries over the years. And my opinion is that the league is really what makes town ball. And I mean, the state tournament is something that is great, but that's just a small piece of what town ball really is about. Having the communities that are by each other, get to see each other, the players, the fans, kind of create those rivalries. So it's a little, I'm kind of sad to see it go, because it's been, I mean, I played in the Crow since I've been here, and I played in Rochester before that, and the Crow is just an awesome league to play in.
I'm sure. So you came from Rochester, and then you played. Was it Winona State for college?
Yep. Yep.
Went on to state, and then coming here, it's a whole nother animal. So it must have been exciting when you first switched over to come to the Crow. But one of the points that I wanted to make when we first started the show for the as far as how fun it is following the Crow, if this is the last year of the Crow River, that's we'd like to get people to come out and watch the games, go to the games. This may be the last if it splits up or breaks up in some fashion. It may not be the true Crow River as we all know it over the years, but this would be the time now to see some of these teams. Look at these teams listed here on there, 16 of them, and they've all had their up years over the years, and they've all had some down years. You never know what's going to happen, but if they move up to Class B, and that's a 2-year deal
at
before
least,
you can come back down, right?
I think it's actually just 1 year. But that could just be an A thing, or it could be because I think if we were to move up to A, it'd be only for 1 year as long as we got our points back down. So I don't know if B would be the same thing or not.
Yeah, it's interesting with Waconia, for instance. Part of the criteria I was talking with Andy, when you turn 35 is when you become exempt, and so Cody Simon will fall off that list for points, and so will Tanner Adam, the newly acquired Tanner Adam. So that'll help, but you're still going to be up there with all these guys with former D1, D2, D3 backgrounds playing until they hit 35. You yourself are, I think, 37, so it's not an impact for yourself. But it makes it tough. I can't imagine managing that from the manager, Fredrickson. Freddie, now you're trying to manage the age and when people are going to fall off for the 35 versus what their college background was. You're managing all that criteria. Does the team want to go up to A or to A or B, or is it just it's going to happen? So it is what it is. We had a discussion in the past. Are there managers out there that say, "Look, let's cut some of these guys to get us down so we stay in C"? I don't think that's the thinking here. I think the thinking is we want the guys. We don't care where we play.
Yeah, we've our team and a large group of us kind of discussed that this offseason, and the thing was nothing's really set of what's going to happen. So we're like, well, let's just if this is our last year, let's add Tanner Adam, who is points, and then Bezacek, who we have some of his teammates on our team, and he moved in the area, so let's add him, and it's a one year type thing if we move to A. But we said we don't know what's going to happen, so let's just kind of go for it, and hopefully things work out where we can. I think we would be a good B team in this new structure. I think that's kind of where we would fit. So, but like you said, without knowing the future, we just thought might as well go for it.
That's interesting. That's good. That's fun stuff because I followed in the past St. Patrick last couple of years, and they fell into that same thing where they are actually up in B now, and they're saying if we're going to be up and over, bring the guys in with the college background and bring their buddies and everything else because now we're over the hump anyway. It doesn't even matter, and let's play some of the tougher teams. That could be interesting. Young America just got done playing 2 years of there. They're finally back down to C now. They're going to be very good in C for years to come. Even it's going to be tough. But boy, the Watertown team is stacked. Waconia is stacked. Plato is still always up there with their pitching, and Young America, and then we get Green Isle, St. Bonnie, New Jersey. These other teams, it's always a crapshoot, but it's so fun just to let you know from a fan watching it, from older guys like us in our 50s, going to the game still. I know that the children, of course, love it. The fans love it. It's fun, but it's still very fun for guys like us to come and watch the guys, watch these games play out and watch the tremendous pitching and some of the hitting that we see take place at this level. It's phenomenal. Now, the last question is check this out. These teams, we're talking about the teams being stacked, Ronnie. When the region ends and you go to state, whoever that is, I'm not going to imply anything here, but the 4 teams, then they get to pick up those 3 additional draft E picks. That really puts these teams over the top. What's your thoughts on that as far as you'd use it in the past to kind of get the what it was intended for was to get those multiple games back to back, Labor Day, that you're going to have some depth. But now they're picking up the draft choices, and a lot of teams are using them right off the first weekend, right out of the gate, first and second weekend. What's your thoughts on that? We've had that discussion before, but I'd like to get your thoughts on how different it makes the team when you pick up those three, and then whether you use them or not.
So here's my idea, what I've kind of told other guys. So I'm curious to know what your guys' thoughts are. I always thought, I think it's a good thing because it gets teams from players from other communities on other teams. And, it gives it's a little more pitching depth to hopefully have competitive games. But I think that there should be, an innings limit on those pitchers. I mean, we have the technology where it's not going to be abused, but you could say each player gets 9 innings for the tournament. You can spread that out however you want, or, it could be 5 innings or something, but just make it so, the core of the team, what was the team a couple of years ago that pitched none of their own pitchers?
Was that Sobolewski?
Yeah,
Sobieski, I think.
Where they beat Watertown? Yeah, I'm still bitter.
Yeah.
So.
You're still bitter.
I'm sorry to bring it up. I should know.
It's a good discussion. I mean, it's fair. They did nothing wrong, but it's a good discussion to have because.
And then they got moved up to B, I think, and it's like
after that,
that's not a B team. It's not even their team that won the championship. Kind of, if you think of it that way.
Fair enough.
That's my thought, and that's how I think.
Fair point.
Yeah, we've thought about that too because you're taking guys that helped get you there are now then being set on the bench or used limited in relief or something for the team that went to state. So you're not using those guys. You're bringing in a horse to take you the distance. I have said in the past, and we brought this up on the board when we had our town ball review. Our overview is, draft the guys, draft the 3. They can be on your team. They don't need to show up the first 2 weekends at all. Make them ineligible to pitch the first 2 weekends. Then if you get it all the way to the end, and then you need help on those games that run together back to back to back, then is when you really would need to have something like that. But then at least use your horses to get through the first opening weekends where you're playing 1 game a weekend. And so we brought that up before as a thought, but it's always good to hear other opinions on that. Like I say, you don't want to abuse it or abuse it. You're doing nothing wrong. It's not illegal. You can ride those guys and go like Sobieski did all the way through. But boy, with the teams like this, Waconia or Watertown that are so stacked for pitching, just imagine then going to the state and picking up another 3 more arms to get into that state tournament. Like it's like a lottery. It's like another lottery pick for that. And then it helps the teams that aren't good, that didn't make it. Not necessarily not good, but that didn't make it or qualify. Then they can continue on and keep playing those additional games. It's a fun thing. I've always loved
that player gets the experience, could take it back to his team.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun stuff. The last thing I have is this, Ronnie. The new lights were added to Lions Field this year. What's the fan response, Ben? I know I've got my own opinions. I love them, but playing on there, you notice a difference then night games?
I think I've only been at, I think maybe one like actually dark night game with the lights, and I didn't notice it like actually just playing in it as much. But it's really cool to say, really cool to watch kind of when you actually do get the light show at the end of a game. We just these late June days though, it makes it a little trickier.
Yes, and that's only when you win. When the team wins on the night game, they do the light display with the different colors. Not if you lose, it's only winning, right?
Well, we lost last week against Jordan at night, and then we waited like 15 minutes after the game and did like a mini show.
Oh, really? Okay. I left too early. I was at the game, and I was under the assumption it was just for winnings, but it's a pretty cool setup. Lions Field has done so much over the years with the ballpark, with the stadium ready, hosting the state. From people I bring to the games, they love the setup, the layout. They're like, oh my God, this is a Class C baseball field. It's got a feeling like you're at the Saints game or something with the mezzanine and the concessions. It's a great atmosphere for that. Then just when you think you get everything done, the lights come on in. The new flagpole goes in. It just looks really sharp. A lot of hard work, once again, by the volunteers. Really makes it look sharp. It does make a difference. Those lights, and I think the more outfielders are going to notice it more than the infielders and the pitchers themselves at night. The outfielders really helps, but those lights push down onto the field rather than getting over into the various neighborhoods and whatnot for night games. It really helps. But that looks really sharp. Do you have any other questions, Andy? I think I missed one, but
no, just first of all, thanks for being on. The Randy Shaver thing this weekend, you guys are going to be at exhibition like that. You guys got asked to be there. Are you going to be playing at that at all?
I don't think I'll be there.
He's out of town, I think. Yeah, I think. But they are playing. It's the third game of the 3 games, and so Waconia's in it this year. It's the Randy Shaver Cancer Knocking Out Cancer baseball tournament.
The All-Star game, the voting for All-Star game, is that based on last year's stats? Is there everybody gets to pick, like in the All-Star game, like you guys pick other players, or how does that work?
So I think it's basically the coach just, asks some of the players have had success in the past. Do they want to play in it? And then I think he asked or they get 3 guys per team, or do you guys know? Or maybe
we got 5.
Watertown's got 5, but I think there may have been some others that have canceled out. So I think
the other guys couldn't make it, so we filled in.
Couldn't make it or something. But it does look like 3. And I'm showing on the screen now here the field from a bird's eye view. Waconia is hosting it this year. The All-Star game, the 26th, 28th.
Friday, whatever Friday is.
So it's a North Star Conference, one of the best in the league state once again versus the Crow River All-Star team, hosted at Lions Field in Waconia, the June 20 next Friday night. That'll be awesome. And so yes, I think it's 3 players each. Let's see. It was Besnicek, I saw it, and Justin Schultz, and it looks like Robbie Smith, I think, with the 2 outfielders that made the squad. So that's who's on it. And I think once again, before you can make it, you have to obviously be around that weekend to go. So we don't know who was obviously asked to start with, but the roster is out of who agreed to be in it for all the teams. That should be phenomenal to host it here at Waconia. Once again, great spot to host a game like that. Hopefully they can keep that running as well. But with the conference in flux, who knows what that?
Well, this might be a thing of the past too.
Yeah, that's be a disappointment.
Yeah, as other conferences have tried it and have had some luck and some not luck on doing an all-star thing. Many times there's so many games to begin with, and you're trying to get to all these games, and to add one more game that really doesn't count. How much effort are you going to put into getting guys there anyway? And so they kind of fall by the wayside. But this is the second year in a row now they've had this. But we'll see how it happens in the future. Ronnie, thanks for coming on the show tonight and talking about a little mid-season check-in with the Waconia Lakers.
Yes.
Thanks for your time tonight, taking time off your busy day to join us.
No problem. We'll get back to watching the Twins. Hopefully the game started again.
Yes.
Yeah, they were rain, weren't they? Yeah.
Playing the Rays. They're playing the Rays. It should be interesting. But thanks for your time. And hopefully we'll be able to chat with you again sometime in the next year.
And the Mets are tied 6-6 in the top of the ninth, if you care.
Oh boy. We'll see you guys at the field too.
Yep.
All
see
right.
ya. Thank you.
Hey, Ronnie.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.